Today we're going to talk about hands-on play ideas for infants and toddlers. So really looking at the age group birth to 3. And then if you are not, again, registered for Thursday's session, Thursday we will go over kind of our 3-year-olds up to school agers and give some ideas for those kiddos as well. So to introduce myself, my name is Lauren. I am the Family Support Specialist with Child Care Answers. So in my role, I help provide parenting support to families, whether that's workshops like this, creating videos and resources housed on our website and our YouTube channel, or helping do kind of one-on-one consultations or meeting with you individually to provide support around a variety of parenting topics. And then I also help families locate childcare, preschool programs, summer care, and school age programs. So I can help kind of with all of that. And then I have a picture of my kiddos up on the screen back when it was warm outside. But I have 2 kiddos. I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. So a lot of the ideas that I will share with you are tried and true, tested with them, and things that I even ask them, what are some of your favorite things to do, so that I can include those in our sessions today and on Thursday. So like I mentioned, we have a pretty active social media page as well as our parenting tips on our website. So you can always go to childcareanswers.com/yourchild to get to all of our parenting resources. We are constantly adding to those resources. And a blog that we just posted about a month ago that definitely meets this topic as well is on the best toys for different age groups. So today I'm going to share with you a couple store-bought toys, but a couple things that you can do just from stuff you might have lying around the house. And those blog posts are really specifically designed for toys that you can buy at the store for different age groups. They're things that are my favorite things that my kids play with. And so you can check that out as well. Child Care Answers is part of a larger statewide network. So we service Marion, Hendricks, and Hamilton counties. But there is a resource and referral agency that does service your county if you're outside of our 3 counties. But that doesn't mean that I can't be a resource to you or a connector to your specialist if you're looking for kind of one-on-one parenting support or childcare. So I know as I'm sharing these activities with you that they're some of my favorite things to do, especially when my kiddos were younger, and some things that we like to do now. And yesterday, because we have snow here in central Indy, and I think most of the state has snow, that after school we were able to play outside in the snow, which was super fun. So definitely snow time fun is good for all ages. It's also something you can bring inside. So if we're worried about being out in the cold too long, bring that snow in, stick it in the bathtub, put their gloves on, and let them explore inside. So Brandon says that some of his favorite things to do with his son is to go on walks, to play dinosaurs, and to play soccer. So all super, super fun things to do. Thank you for sharing that. So before I share some ideas, I want to talk about kind of your role in supporting your child's play and what that kind of looks like. So as the parent, alongside of your child as they're playing, you basically can act as their play-by-play announcer. So think about listening to a sporting event on the radio or watching it on television. You can have your eyes closed, but know exactly what's happening. And you're kind of like that to your child. So as they're playing, you can describe the experience that they're having, talk about what your child is doing, like you're stacking 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, narrating their play and providing language to go along with their actions. You can encourage their problem solving by asking open-ended questions and using a lot of expression, saying things like, "Oh no, the ball rolled under the table. How can we get it?" When you very well know how to get the ball, but you're encouraging your child to problem solve and think about the solution instead of just going over and grabbing it for them. as you are narrating their play, you're building their vocabulary. They're hearing a variety of different words, and they're beginning to tie language to an action or a material. Alongside of building their vocabulary, you can make learning language fun by changing the inflection of your voice and playing games with language like peekaboo. And you can also promote cooperation, which are some beginning sharing skills or some beginning kind of chores or helping skills, like working on cleaning up together, like working on my turn, your turn. I'm going to play with this, and then when I'm done, you can have a turn. And then as the adult, I'm asking, hey, I'd like to play with that. Can I play with that when you're done, please? So that we're encouraging some give and take within play. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of following your child's lead. You provide the materials, you create an invitation to play, and then you invite them to come in and play with those materials. Playing alongside of them, narrating their play, but really looking at them and following their lead. And when it comes to young children, especially infants, you are their best playmate and you are their best toys. Babies want to see your face. They want to see your facial expressions. They want to hear your voice. And so at the end of the day, providing materials and toys is great, but they want to know that you're there with them and that you're playing alongside of them, and they want to be able to see your face. So at the end of the day, if you don't have any of this stuff, you are their best playmate. So when I think about play for our infants specifically, especially those non-mobile infants, I think specifically about floor time. So floor time is essential for supporting play, but also a child's development. So get your baby on the floor, whether it's practicing tummy time or back time under like a play gym or on a soft mat or on the carpet, and engage your baby down there. We really want to limit the amount of time that babies are spent in devices like swings and bouncy seats, and really promote the use of floor time, especially tummy time, for them to develop some core muscle strength, neck and back and shoulder muscles, and to help them reach their developmental milestones. And I know when your baby is 2, 3, 4 months old, the last thing you're thinking about is them becoming mobile, and probably the last thing you want, right? But you want to set up your baby to be successful when they are physically able to do those things. And so doing a lot of tummy time and floor time will set the stage for them to grow physically when they are ready to begin pushing up, rolling over, crawling, walking, running, climbing, and all of those sorts of things. So what I love in this picture is this book that opens up to be able to be sat in front of baby, so that baby can see all of these different pictures. You can do something very similar, which is setting toys out, but giving your baby a variety of things to look at, to reach for, and to manipulate. Which brings me to anything that your baby can hold. So one of the skills that infants are learning is how to grasp things, how to bring things to their mouth, and how to transfer things from hand to hand. So here are some of my favorite materials to have available for younger infants, are things like rattles, teethers. Two of the pictures that I have as examples are the O-ball. This particular one is the rattle, but any of the O-ball variety, they have a ball, they have a car, they have a rattle. They're just really easy for them to be able to hold and to manipulate, and they're also lightweight. So when they're laying on their back, holding this toy, and it falls on their face, which inevitably happens, it's not going to hurt them. Teethers are also great for them to be able to manipulate and chew. And then this particular picture is called a squig. This one is a pit squig, but squigs are made by Fat Brain Toys. It's actually on my blog about the best toys for infants because I love squigs so much. They come in a variety of shapes and sizes. I'll show another one in the next slide, and then we also talk about them in the session on Thursday because they make a smaller version that's perfect for preschoolers and school agers. They are made of silicone, so they can go in the dishwasher. They're great for babies to chew on. They're great bath time toys. They have a lot of texture. And if the tips of them, they are made out of suction cups so that they can stick together. You can stick them on a high chair for them to manipulate. They're just really great toys. So that is why I included the Squigs in here. When you're thinking about toys and materials for infants and toddlers, you want to really look at toys that can go in their mouth. Young children learn by putting everything in their mouth. That's one of the ways that they explore materials. So everything that you'll see together as far as activities go are safe to go in the mouth, and they are not a choking hazard. So that is definitely something that we want to think about with children under 3. So similar to the Squigs are these spools that you see. They're very similar in the way that they work, except these are shaped a little bit differently. There's a variety of sizes. They can be used to stack, and then they can also stick to things. All 3 of these toys are made by Fat Brain Toys. What I love about their website is you can search by age group, and it provides a ton of different things to choose from that are all very developmentally appropriate and very open-ended. When we're looking at toys and activities to do with infants and toddlers, we're looking at things that have cause and effect. When I do something, something happens. Not like a one-button wonder that I press the button and it lights up and then I'm done, but more, how can I manipulate the materials in a variety of different ways so that something happens? So with the spools, they can chew on them, they can stack them, they can knock them over, they can stick them together. There's a variety of things that they can do to them, and then something happens. The Kickity, which is the top picture, is kind of a modern take of your pop-up toy. So the old pop-up toy that you press a button or you rotate a knob and the thing pops up and then they close it, is kind of that traditional pop-up toy, which is also a great toy for babies. But this toy, when you push one side in, another side pops out. So it's the toy that never ends. As soon as I pop one side in, the other side pops out. And I love, again, that it's made out of silicone, so it can be cleaned very easily. It can be mouthed, and there's also a variety of textures. And then the bottom picture is the Any Bin, which is similar to your traditional shape sorter, but instead of having your child kind of manipulate the shape into the correct space, you're sticking it through the silicone bands. They are able to see what's inside of the box and then pull things out, working on that development of in and out, which is a good pre-math skill. But don't push away the classics. So there are a lot of really classic, awesome infant and toddler toys that are kind of my go-to baby shower gifts, my go-to first birthday gifts that just hold a lot of value. So your traditional shape sorter, your stacking cups, and your stacking rings all work to support the development of fine motor skills, large motor skills, and early math skills. So these are some of your best things. You might think that this $3 set of stacking cups, I want something cooler or better. Buy the $3 set of stacking cups because they hold a lot of value. They can be used for a lot of different things, and they are just one of your best first toys. So now that we've looked at these great toys and thinking about our young babies, our babies get older. They become more curious. They want to explore things. So get messy, and get messy in a way that makes sense for you as the parent. You may not want spaghetti noodles all over your living room. So think about a way to do messy play that makes sense, whether it's taking it outside, doing it in the high chair, getting a sensory bin where everything stays in the bin, do it in the bathtub and then take a bath after, but find ways to get messy. And here are 3 examples of that. So the picture on the left is a baby exploring cooked spaghetti. What I love about this is we know that babies are going to put everything in their mouth. Toddlers are going to put everything in their mouth. So this provides an avenue for them to play and explore and be able to put things in their mouth, and it's okay. You can do this with a variety of different things. You can Google sensory tubs for infants and toddlers. and find tons and tons and tons of ideas. I've also seen them with rice. I've seen them with Cheerios. I've seen parents grind Cheerios almost to make an edible sand that their child can play and manipulate with, but get messy. The middle picture is something that I always did when we would eat outside in the summer, or something where I would give just a tiny bit of water, less than what's in this picture, inside, and a washcloth. So my baby could splash, they could clean their tray after mealtime or while I was cooking. And then for those infants and toddlers who are teething, that wet washcloth then feels good for them to chew on their teeth. And then that last picture on the right is a sorting box for scooping and dumping. One of the skills that infants and toddlers are really working on is filling and dumping. So this provides a safe place for him to scoop up the oats, dump it into the respective cups and bowls, but not make a mess everywhere. And something that I recommend when you're doing an activity like this is to tell your child what you want them to do and not what you don't want them to do. Example of this is, instead of saying, don't dump the oats on the floor, say oats stay in the bucket, so that they're learning some boundaries around their play and also those expectations. They're hearing exactly what you want them to do and not what you don't want them to do. And obviously for these, when you are working with a young child, these aren't activities per se that you would give them and then go to the other room. They probably need to be supervised during this type of play, but they're also great activities to put out on the kitchen floor while you're cooking and you're engaging with them, but you are doing something that you need to do while they're doing something super fun and engaging, or while you're folding laundry and things like that. So Susan says, I love the sensory tub. Never thought of that. Yes, I love, love, love sensory tubs. I always have one around the house. And sometimes I even use them to bring out when I need my child to kind of sit still and focus. So I'm on a Zoom call, or I'm trying to make dinner, or we're really fussy because we skipped our nap that day for whatever reason. Of pulling out a sensory tub and giving them something super hands-on to play with usually gives me at least 10 minutes to get something done. And who doesn't like to get messy? Here are some other examples of things that we can do to support our child's fine motor development as well as their early math skills. So as simple as providing some lids and a tissue box, putting the lids in, taking them out. This is your very, very cheap or free version of the AnyBox. Just making sure that our lids are big enough that they're not a choking hazard. So if they fit through a toilet paper hole, so the circle fits through or goes inside of it, then the lid is probably too small. So we're thinking about larger lids, but you can do this with a variety of different materials. I've even seen this done with just pieces of fabric or felt or anything kind of lying around the house. Shove it in the tissue box and let them take it out, put it back in, take it out. And you can do this with a wipes container too. So it's a little sturdier than a tissue box. The bottom picture is a basket that just has a bunch of random materials in it. So what's great about infants and toddlers is we don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. They like everyday household items. So whether it's a ribbon or fabric strips, pine cones, shells, sensory bottles. And a sensory bottle is essentially a water bottle filled with random things and then gluing the lid shut. So you can put sand or water or gel or pom-poms or cotton balls, anything inside of it. Just a variety of different random materials for them to manipulate. And then infants and toddlers are really good natural sorters. So here's an example of an activity where the parent taped some different color paper on the ground, provided some toys in those same colors, and invited their child to begin sorting. For your child, they might jump right in and begin sorting by certain characteristics. In this particular case, it's by color. You might also have to take one of each, stick it on the pieces of paper, and then kind of back off, creating that invitation to say, hey, you could sort by color. Would you like to try? And then see where they go from there. It's also a great way of embedding like pre-academic skills into play, because young children don't learn by holding up a picture of orange and saying, what color is this? They learn by sorting and manipulating materials. So when your child puts the blue elephant on the blue paper, of saying, oh, you sorted the blue elephant on the blue paper, those are the same, they're both blue. So that your child is hearing that language of colors without being quizzed. And that is really how the brain develops, is through play. Some more great fine motor activities that I love and that are super easy. Number one being the colander with pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners are a great stringing activity for toddlers because they're firmer and more substantial than a piece of string. So I've also seen this done with spaghetti noodles that are uncooked, so they're still hard, and sticking it through the holes of the colander. This is a great activity to pull out again while you're cooking, and having your child sitting in the kitchen in a safe place, manipulating this while you are also working side by side. After COVID, I'm sure we all have a whole bucket of wine corks, or we know someone we could get wine corks from. So this activity is essentially just putting the corks inside of a smaller container. So they have to use their fine motor skills to pick them up and stick them through the opening of the smaller container. In this particular one, it is a Gatorade bottle, but anything will work. You can also do this with cotton balls, with pom-poms, with cereal, any kind of adaptation of this activity. And then lastly, the other fine motor activity that I love so much is stringing cereal. So again, using pipe cleaners and then picking up the cereal, using that fine motor control to thread the cereal onto the pipe cleaner. And lastly, get active. Go outside, play. There is no bad weather, just bad clothing. As long as there's not a heat index or a wind chill, go outside. I know that getting snow gear on, putting sunscreen on can be a hassle, but that can also be part of the learning process of learning some self-help skills like getting dressed and undressed, putting lotion on, allowing them to be part of the process. But it's also important to get active inside because we just can't be outside all day, every day. So do things inside that are fun. Turn all of those empty Amazon boxes into tunnels and forts. Get some bean bags and do a beanbag toss onto different colored paper. If your child is a thrower, they're telling you, I need to throw. So while it's not safe to throw your block across the room, I can put some painter's tape on the wall, give you something soft and say, throw here. So turning a no into a yes. Moving from don't throw to here is a safe place for you to use that skill that I know so badly you need to work on. And then create obstacle courses, use the cushions on the couch, play the floor is lava, where you're trying to walk from one room to the next without touching the ground. Climbing on the couch might not be the safest choice, but let's climb on the cushions on the floor instead. I know you need to climb. Let's get that energy out in a constructive way. If you would like to reach out and talk one-on-one or get more ideas like this, don't hesitate to email me. We appreciate you all joining, and I look forward to seeing you guys on another webinar soon.